Alexa, stop. evening to all. First of all, very warm welcome to all the participants who are currently present in the webinar and joining us from Facebook and YouTube Live. To begin with, may I first request everyone to kindly put your videos on and microphone on mute during the whole session. Thank you. First, please allow me to introduce myself. I'm Tenzin Legman, Assistant Program Coordinator of Tibet House, New Delhi. And today I welcome you all for this very auspicious evening today with the Purnima. In commemoration of Lord Buddha's birth anniversary, we are very delighted to host a teaching on undertaking the ceremony of Aspirational Bodhisattva pledge with our Geshe. Before we proceed with the main event today, I have a small announcement to make. With Tibet House New Delhi, would like to introduce to the launch of our new course, Nalanda Certificate course. In short, we call it NCC, which is a 2-month course in Buddhist philosophy, and it will be taught in English language by Geshe Dorji Damdul. The reason to introduce this course is mainly for those who genuinely want to learn the Buddhist studies in more depth and in very systematic way. Just to let you all know that the registration period for NCC course is already open, and it will remain till 3rd June. For more details, you can log into our website, that is www.tibethouse.in. I repeat, www.tibethouse.in. So please feel free to register anytime and spread the message amongst your friends and family who are a very keen interest in learning Nalanda Buddhist studies in a very short period of time. Thank you. And now I would like to request our Geshe to kindly proceed the session. Please hold for a second. We are facing some technical issues. Thank you.
Kikude. Okay. Okay. Happy and virtuous Vesak Day, Buddha Purnima, or the birth of the Buddha Shakyamuni. As you are already aware, that today is the day where three important events of the Buddha coincided. One, the Buddha's enlightenment, and of course the birth first, Buddha's enlightenment, and then the Mahaparinirvana, which is the assuming passing away. And as a matter of fact, Buddha assuming Mahaparinirvana or passing away, that is more according to the historical account, or according to, let's say, the more what is acceptable to the ordinary people's perception. Whereas when you become enlightened, when anybody becomes enlightened, there's no passing away, because there's no passing away for our mind. And when the mind manifests its true nature, there is no change, passing away, decay, nothing of the sort is there. But the manner in which, where the moon is there, where the water body is there, the reflections of the moon is seen. Where the water dries up, the water body dries up, the reflection disappears. It doesn't mean that the moon disappeared. It's simply because the condition which made this reflection possible, that disappears. It's for this reason that the ordinary beings, where the water body of the sentient beings, water body of the ordinary beings, when it dries up, then the reflection of the Buddha in the form of the emanation Buddha disappears. So this is what, in the parlance, the passing away or the Mahaparinirvana. And in reality, there's no passing away. And where your karma is very pure, you're bound to meet with the Buddha anytime, at any place. Okay, this is one part, but we are all ordinary beings. For this matter, the Buddha very clearly indicated that the times where the enlightened beings, say, very important events related to the ordinary, the enlightened beings, if one engages in virtues, the benefit, the merit is multiplied numerous times. So today, given that it corresponds to three important events of the Buddha's life, where we engage in commemorating this enlightened being, we commit so much merit. So meanwhile, we need to know how to best commemorate, how to best remember this great teacher. And what we are doing here is taking the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. And the Buddha's appearance on this earth is finally to benefit, to help solve the problems of the beings. And we all know that in reality, what actually helps us to remove our problems is to bring about transformation in one's own mind. And yes, we can engage ourselves in other virtues, in any kind of virtues, like reciting mantras and so forth. But the best of which is to bring about transformation, and direct transformation in one's own mind. And for this, it is as I mentioned, the Buddha talked about the two things, as Nagarjuna very clearly indicated. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the immaculate dharma. Enthused by great compassion means, say, for each one of us, to extract the greatest meaning out of life. Say, they are the two wings, just as for a bird, for the eagle to cross the ocean of miseries, for the eagle to cross the massive land, the ocean, it requires two wings. Likewise, for us to cross the ocean of miseries to the state of happiness, we require the two wings, the wing of the merit and the wing of the wisdom. And today, we are trying to engage in the Aspirational Bodhisattva, taking the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, which involves two things. One is cultivating compassion, which is the primary, the main, the chief of the merit accumulation, and the wisdom, which is the chief of cognizing the reality as it is. So with this mind, setting proper motivation makes a whole difference. And let's take some seconds to invoke the spirit, to set proper motivation. Okay. First, let us invoke this great enlightened Buddha Shakyamuni teacher, the Buddha Shakyamuni. And of course, the Buddha Shakyamuni, he is actually so vibrantly there, manifesting innumerable times everywhere in the world. So we reflect, we visualize this Buddha Shakyamuni in front of us. Likewise, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, who is presently breathing in this planet Earth, the same air, the breathing the same air as we're breathing. So he's there. And Buddha Maitreya, Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, Tara, Vajrapani, Nagarjuna, Deva, Bodhisattva, the Acharya Chandrakirti, Bodhisattva Shanideva, Bodhisattva Rakshita, Acharya Kamalashil, and the Indonesian incredibly great enlightened being, Lama Selingpa, and then Lama Dishadvanga Rishirikyana, and all the great masters of the Nyingma tradition, of the Kagyu tradition, of the Sakya tradition, of the Gelug tradition, and all the great masters of the Chinese tradition, and also the Theravada tradition. Just let us invoke all these enlightened beings, as though like the whole space in front of you is filled with enlightened beings, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and so loving, caring, and embracing to each one of us. Next, while rejoicing the virtues of all the people who are engaged in observing this as a very sacred and holy day, let us visualize your two kind parents, all your family members, including children, and all dear mother sentient beings, the human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghouls, hell beings, god and goddesses, living none aside, everyone with us together. And here you are like the mother, and all others are like your own children. And you give so much of love, affection, attention, and embrace to each and every one of the dear mother sentient beings. And the purpose of this practice is with the basic awareness that each one of us, we have the seed of perfection to become enlightened, fully enlightened. That is to experience fearlessness and total, the infinite happiness and total fearlessness. While these two amazing seeds are within each one of us, no matter what gender, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what religion, each one of us, as long as you are a sentient being, you have this potential. While we do have this potential, how come that we don't see this today with us? It's because that they are defiled, but they're obscured, like the gold. However pure the gold is, however brilliant the nature it has to glow, when mixed with the soil, you cannot see it glowing. So likewise, this incredible seed of perfection within us is mixed with the mental defilements that we don't see this potential yet. And how to make sure that this is awakened. Just as gold starts to glow as the mud is removed, Likewise, we have to remove the mental defilements, and that these two seeds of the perfection of the fearlessness and the perfection of infinite happiness will glow within us to benefit all the dear sentient beings. So with this basic aspiration that all actions that I engage in from today onwards, I'll try my best, somehow try my best, that they are dedicated, they are dedicated to remove the mental defilement, so that the seed of perfection within me becomes manifest. And how to do that? For that matter, first of all, we need to be convinced. To gain conviction, we need to study. We need to know how that is true. So the study is required, reflection is required, and meditation is required. So with this in mind, I request our program coordinator, Mr. Tenzin Legmanla, to do the screen share with all of us, and we will recite these verses together. As we reflect our mind, and let the meanings be reflected as we recite the following verses. And imagine that you're leading this recitation, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they are with us in the space in front of us, and you're joined by your two parents, your children, and all dear mother sentient beings living on the side, and particularly the difficult people and those who are suffering in Ukraine and also in Russia. Is not the Ukrainian people, they are suffering terribly, and the Russian people also suffering terribly, because there are the sanctions to many of the helps that they get. Otherwise, because of the interdependence of the world, they cannot get this the help anymore. So where both sides are suffering is all because of the lack of the sanity of the leaders, very unfortunately. So let's pray that all those in Ukraine, Russia, the miseries are mitigated by the power of this practice, and that the people who are responsible for all these, they get some sanity, that they stop the say unwholesome actions of creating pains on others. And also that the millions of people who passed away to this COVID-19, and millions of people who are badly affected by COVID-19, let us pray that those who died, they take a favorable birth to meet with the teachings of the Buddha, to meet with the teachings of the universal compassion and the wisdom to see things as interdependent, and be able to act accordingly to create harmony and peace in the world for oneself and for all the beings. And also in all the other places, like in Sri Lanka, where there's so much of say the internal problems, shortages of material resources and so forth, let us pray that everything is revived, and that people once again they get to sigh with relief. Okay, with this in mind, imagine that you are leading this recitation, and everybody's joining you with so much joy and happiness and hope. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations or practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And indeed, we are all very fortunate that we are taking part in this ceremony, and the whole purpose of the Buddha, as indicated by the great Indian master, the Acharya Dignaga, that in his the classic texts, the classic text of the Logic, where he says, the one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit all sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector to hear my frustrations. So this is the roadmap that the Buddha Shakyamuni they showed to us through examples. And Acharya Dignaga, he rightly picked this up as the summary of the Buddha's biography. And anybody who seeks to who seeks total fearlessness, infinite happiness for yourself and for everyone, this is path to be tread. And with this mind that given that finally what we do, which has a direct impact in a mind to tread the path which the Buddha Shakyamuni followed, this is what is referred to as the wise beings. And of course, each one of us, we are very fortunate that being a part of Tibet House, which was established by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the embodiment of the universal compassion, the embodiment of our Avalokiteshvara today, who is on this planet Earth with us, with whom we are breathing the same air, with whom we are treading the same earth. We are so fortunate, and that he would be most happy to see that we're extracting the greatest meaning out of life by cultivating wisdom, and by cultivating the all-embracing compassion for all beings. Okay, with this mind, let us continue reading this. Independent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of aberrations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all lead hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, who through the knowledge of paths cause those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience help subduers expound a variety of teachings. The one who is transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata and protector, to you are my prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays, to you the Buddha make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I journey the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, well, let's recite this mantra. And I know that most of you are already familiar with Tibetan programs, and you know this mantra, meaningful mantra as well. And those who do not know the meaningful mantra, no mind. You try to learn this meaning, of course, which is down there, immediately the next verse. But in more detail, we need to know the meaning. And those of you who already know the meaning, as we recite this, just see how much you can reflect on the meanings. And then we will recite this together in the form of with the melody. And those of us who do not know how to do this, listen to us and then join us 3 times together. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. The meaning of the mantra. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well as taught by the great seer. So in fact, this mantra, in short, the meaning of the mantra is that we do have miseries, and there's also a cure to these miseries. And how to look for the cure? The miseries, given that they arise from the causes, we have to curb the causes of the miseries. And what the causes? The self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude, and the offshoots in the form of afflictive emotions and their, the ill actions of physical, verbal, and mental. And how to curb this, given that all these problems are rooted in ignorance, somehow directly or indirectly related to the ignorance only by introducing the light of the wisdom that this ignorance is eradicated. And what is this light of the wisdom? That is what the Tathagata taught, the cessation of the causes as well as what taught by great seer. So this should give us a reminder that my problems can be brought to an end. Our habitual tendencies, bad habits, even they can be brought to an end by resorting to the wisdom, by going for, say, more meditation, and meditation possible only through more reflections, which in turn is possible only through more studies. So extensive studies, extensive reflections, and extensive meditations, and this alone will help us to curb the problems of our miseries. So this is what we need to be reminded of on this day, the day the Buddha Shakyamuni took birth, to help us. The next, profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear-light and non-composite. Such is the nectar-light dharma I have discovered, finding no one who can fathom this teaching. In silence I return to woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space. It is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of 3 times obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha, the Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of eons. So now this is, again, another way of summarizing the Buddha's teachings, where it reads, the Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. So we need to unfold the truth of the suchness. What is the reality? That everything is like a dream. Just as you stopped to be affected by the dream the moment you wake up, we stop to be affected by samsara, by all the external factors of sickness, aging, death, and all the complications. We will stop to be affected. All the pains dissolve by waking up from the sleep of ignorance. Next. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you're attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you're attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you're attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there's grasping, you do not have the view. Which page is this? The Shakyamuni Buddha Shakyamuni, page 14. Okay, so as we read this, this is the praise to Buddha Shakyamuni, or the eulogy to the Buddha Shakyamuni. And the purpose for this is just to praise the Buddha Shakyamuni, and the Buddha Shakyamuni is happy. This is not a connotation. Instead, whether we praise Buddha Shakyamuni or not, there's no difference to the Buddha. For the Buddha is to just like a mother, whether a child, young tender child, praises the mother or not, it doesn't matter to the mother. Mother simply, I say, embraces you. So for us, by praising the Buddha, I say, what are the points? What are the qualities on the basis of which the Buddha is praised? We need to identify these, and having identified these, see. Knowing that you have this Buddha nature, this your perfection within you, see if you have some of these qualities. If you do find these qualities within you, just rejoice and see how to nurture them further. If you don't have these qualities, given that you also have the seed of these qualities, so I'll try to inculcate these qualities within you and see how to nurture them further. This is the whole purpose. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, knower of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you pace out 7 strides, then set up supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, a field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean. To you that the Tathagata I prostrate, a purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation wholly feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, but from only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through this marriage may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the 4 faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Okay, we'll read the Heart Sutta mantra, yes, 7 times. As we recite this, all these mantra recitations, instead of expecting some blessings in the form of miracles, instead of that, these should be like a reminder for us that, okay, the mantra which we already read before, Ye Dharma mantra, essence of dependent origin mantra, that is for us to remind us that the miseries, they arise from the causes, happiness, they also arise from causes. Given that we don't want miseries, the causes are to be shunned, self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude, and all the afflictions. And happiness to be embraced, they are the cause of the wisdom and compassion, and to enrich the wisdom and compassion within the self. So this mantra is how to do that, to enrich the wisdom and to expand your circle of compassion. How? It has to be done in stages. Keep progressing in your wisdom. Study more, reflect more, and meditate more. Likewise, compassion. Study more, reflect more, and meditate more. Give yourself become richer, richer, richer. In 5 steps, Gade, Gade, Para Gade, Para Samgade, Bodhisattva. The 5 paths to full awakening, where all the mental duds are removed and the potential inside you, they are all awakened, working fully to experience the total fearlessness, technically referred to as nirvana, and the expansive infinite happiness referred to as the Buddhahood. Okay, with this mind, let us recite this 7 times together. And in the process, if a sense of feeling, a sense comes to you that, okay, I should keep improving. Gade means go. Keep improving. If that sense is coming to you, the purpose is fulfilled. Whereas if it's just like invoking or expecting some miracles coming, then the purpose is defeated. Yata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate 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 Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay, short model offering. First, we'll say the English translation, followed by the Tibetan, and again we'll say the English version. Model offering, it simply means, so basically a model has many connotations. In simple terms, is the whole universe, the model of the universe, all the good things that exist in the universe. You offer this to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, that you accumulate merit, and then you become these empowered to benefit all the beings. Okay, we'll say the first, what is being offered to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and then wish that all beings enjoy the Pure Land where all the misery stop and happiness flourishes. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, the four continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. Okay, we'll say this in Tibetan. O Zaji Bege Joje Mendo Tam Re Ra Le Je Nyen De Gyam Ba De Sanye Shendo Me De Bwa Ye Jogu Nam Da She La Je Bara Sho. Okay, after having made this offering of the whole world the system to the Bodhisattvas, then we make the request. There are two sets of requests related to your practice. Okay, let's read this together. The four dharmas of the Venerable Gambuba. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practice is on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. May I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. Becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps at to existence, please bless me to generate genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as viciously repulsive. Please bless me that my mind may overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my mind stream overflows with the precious wisdom of the non-duality of bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ranamende Lagam Nirateyame. Okay, foundation of all good qualities. Okay. The foundation of all good qualities. This is the roadmap for us from where we are to the full awakened state of the Buddhahood. So how to traverse along this path is very clearly indicated in the 14 verses. This is by Lama Tsongkhapa, the 14th century great enlightened teacher. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and a perfect guru, pure guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once is greatly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly day and night takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After that, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful, to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is a door to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great caution arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Purnima vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I've fallen into the sea of samsara, so for all other migratory beings, please bless me to see this twin in Supreme Bodhicitta and bear the responsibility to free migratory beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the Bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I have pacified distractions to all objects and correctly analyzed the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of karma abiding space inside. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the Supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my life. Then, having realized the importance of these two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, my Gurus who showed the noble path and the spiritual friends who practiced their long lives, please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances in all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, I enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, I could attain the state of Vajratara. Okay, let us say this praise together. This is praise to Lama Tsongkhapa, the author of the foundation of all good qualities. And as we sing this, most of you know how to sing this. We'll sing this together. And as we sing this, just to cater to, just to accommodate the melody, the third line is the skipped. We say this 3 times together. Myo myo tse ter je je re se te me kem be om bo jam be yang han je ke be zu ge zu ga ma lo sa ta be sha la so wa de na me ze te che che re se te me kem be wan bo jam be yang han je ke be zu ge zu ba lo sa cha be sha la so wa de me me tse te che che re se che me ke me o bo ja me yam kan je ke be zo ye zo ga ba lo sa cha be sham la so wa de. Meaning of the mantra. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroyer of hosts of demons without exception. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, Losantaba, at your feet, I make prostrations. Okay, now the actual practice. So thus far is the ground that we created for taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. And the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. And most of you are already aware that in most of the programs of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, His Holiness gives the teachings, that they taking the aspiration Bodhisattva vow, or the Dushantudu. And so what we're doing here is exactly in line with the hopes, with the intentions of the Buddha Shakyamuni and His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that this is the best way by which to extract the greatest meaning, to give the greatest meaning to yourself. And so with this mind, we're going to take this aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Okay, as a part of this ceremony, what we do is that we will, it consists of the 4 parts. One, I say, okay, by the way, we need to keep in mind that what we're doing here is not just for today's program. This is what one is expected to do, or what one can do to make your practice, daily practice, complete. The one, it should involve the single point of meditation. And number 2 is the practice of renunciation. Number 3 is the bodhicitta. And number 4, the wisdom. And alongside those of us who already have your own personal, the commitments, having received empowerments, and then associated with the empowerments, having received the empowerments, you have the commitments, the sadhana recitations, practice, and so forth. So that should accompany these things. The minimum what we need to do is what are you doing now? Okay, so first we'll do the single point meditation. And so for that matter, the 4 things to keep in mind, and those of, I can see that most of you are already very familiar to Tibetan programs. So there's no point for me to give a detailed explanation of what the meditation should be, single point of meditation should be like. So what I would suggest is that those of you who already know how to meditate, just do it right now. And whereas those of us who are not aware, who are just newcomers, for this, I'm going to give a quick, the overview of what a meditation, single point of meditation, is like, just a sample. So for that matter, we sit upright, we sit cross-legged, and the body upright, and if possible, don't lean against any support. Don't recline against any support. Just keep it upright. Meanwhile, the body should be flexible. It should not be rigid. It should be flexible. So with this, you have to tilt it forward a little bit and the eyes not closed. Particularly for single point of meditation, I keep your eyes open. That is extremely important. And if you don't do that, you are risking a great consequence. Meaning that you are at a certain point, you will see that your meditation does not progress at all. Instead, you can experience the repercussions of the wrong meditations. Okay, eyes not closed. In other words, just keep your eyes half open, 45 degrees cast down, and just ignore. And your mind should be focused on the object of meditation. And breathe normally. And your right hand on the left hand, and the tips of two thumbs joining, forming a triangle. Place the two hands in your lap, in a restful state. And so this is your body posture. Then the focal point, we're going to multitasking. If possible, you can do both. Multitasking, meaning that you visualize a tiny dot, tiny white dot between nose and the upper lip, tiny white dot in nose and upper lip, and focus on this dot. Multitasking, while focusing your mind on the tiny dot, count your breath. Breathe in, breathe out very normally. Don't force your breath, don't control your breath. Let the breath flow very naturally, and count your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Cycle 1, breathe in, breathe out. Cycle 2, just count the breath alongside visualizing a very tiny dot between nose and upper lip. And some of you may think it's impossible to do things together. Experientially speaking, 100% yes, it is possible. Okay, this is a focal point. Number 3, number 4, so important. Number 3 is what can be a wrong meditation? Where can we go wrong when you're meditating, when doing a wrong meditation? Twofold. One is inactivity of the mind. Inactivity of the mind, where your mind becomes very lax and like somebody grabbing your hand, and then it's too lax that it just falls off very easily. You cannot hold it. So this is where the mind is too inactive. Other one is too overly active. Overactivity of the mind. This is again a problem. So there must be a balance between the two, where the mind has it doesn't really get scattered because of overactivity, nor it should fall asleep or fall your mind should not go into relaxed state. Okay, what if these two things happen? And if these two things happen, what should I do? Then go for number 4. Apply the remedies. What are the 2 remedies? Number 1, in the introspection. Just keep an eye on your mind to check if your mind is meditating, or if the mind is distracted, or the mind is sleeping. Just check that. The moment you see that your mind is distracted or in a relaxed state, then apply the mindfulness. Bring the mind back to the intended object of meditation. Okay, ready? 5 minutes. Okay. Next is renunciation. For the part of renunciation, we will do the meditation of the four seals. And unlike the single-pointed meditation practice for meditation and renunciation, bodhicitta, wisdom, and emptiness, they all fall under the category of the analytical meditation. So we're going to do the analysis. And for this matter, it's going to be done in the form of the guided meditation. Instructions are given, and just follow the instructions, and don't try to make any correlations with what is being instructed now, what you've learned before, and just try to follow instructions and see how much you can invoke the respective experiences or the meaning, and if not experience, just the meanings, or otherwise they reflect the experiences. Just see how much you can invoke the experience. And if you do want to make the correlations, you can do that later after completion of the session. You can make any correlations, but for the time being, let us not miss the opportunity to invoke the experiences. That is so important. Okay. Just follow the instructions and try to invoke the experiences to the best you can. Ready? Renunciation. Renunciation is to renounce the miseries. It is not to renounce the happiness. It is to renounce miseries. To renounce miseries, we need to know what are the causes of miseries, and renouncing these causes, the miseries are invariably renounced. So what are the causes of miseries? So firm misconceptions, misconceiving impermanent phenomena as permanent, misconceiving the impure things as pure, misconceiving miseries as happiness, and misconceiving the selfless nature as of the selfhood, objectified selfhood. We need to encounter these four causes, misperceptions. The first one, the Buddha taught, all composite things impermanent. We think about all the good things that we experienced before in our life, birthday parties, embracing you as a young child, embracing your mom, embracing your dad, and any celebrations, the festivities, or even just joy of the joy of having ice cream, or joy of the cool breeze, or joy of watching the sunset. And yes, while these experiences are so beautiful, yet they're impermanent. They just disappear. We don't have the control to experience them, to have them at all times. Today, we see that there's so many people, almost 8 billion human beings on this earth. And what are you doing today? There are many others simultaneously. What are you doing today? Many others, they are in the pubs, in the nightclubs, and so forth. And still many others studying, preparing for the exams, and with so much expectations for their careers, business, and so forth. And parents have so much expectations on the children, and children themselves have so much expectation of their careers, and so forth. What about 500 years ago, 200 years ago? Same thing happened. And where all those people, the parents who expected so much from their children, and children who expected their own careers are so bright, and parents having so much a plan for the children and so forth. Where are they? They're all gone. Not even a single person is left. Oftentimes, whole village is washed away by the flood, by the landslide, by all forms of natural disasters. And now those beings, 200 years ago, 400 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and the kings, queens, so powerful people, where they? They're just lying in the memories. That's it. And what is today is so alive, so real. Yes? After 200 years, where are we going to be? Not even a single person is going to be there. Everyone is going to disappear. With some excuse, oh, one person is dying today, died yesterday, dying tomorrow. And this is how we are all going to go. No, we are not going to go away at just one point. No, just at one particular time. But this is how we live the world. This is, all composite things impermanent. It's very true. And the power of this, where the impermanence, it is not making us stay static. It is taking us somewhere, and that too, it is taking us somewhere so fast. And what we see of the reality is illusion. In actuality, anything that we're experiencing, your body, your mind, and everything, they're in constant flux of change. They're all made of atoms, and the atoms they're constantly moving so fast. This is reality. But if we don't see that, we will see the world as so static. This is the impermanence. From this, we come to realize that we don't remain static. We move so fast. Where are we going? Where is this fast impermanence taking us towards? Where? This question. Yes, it is determined by the cause. Ye dharma hetu prabhava. All these are determined by the cause. What kind of cause? In our case, say if you are thrown into a very fast driving the fast moving train, what's your feeling? So much of fear. Faster train moves, more of fear. Why? We don't know who the driver is. If the driver is your parents, of course, it'll take you to a picnic spot. But if the driver is the terrorist, no doubt it'll take you to a slaughterhouse. It's very scary. In our case, who is the driver? The driver is on the mind. Unfortunately, this mind is under the sway of the terrorist-like two demons, self-grasping ignorance and a self-centered attitude. As long as we are under the sway of these two demons, we're never going to be happy. So this is the meaning of the second line. All contaminated things are suffering nature. Where there's contamination, the worst of which are the self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. Where we are under the sway of self-grasping and self-centered attitude, it will only take us to miseries. All contaminated things are suffering nature. What kind of sufferings? Yes, in our own life, we have experienced what suffering is: sickness, aging, death, tension, the fear of COVID-19, and so forth. And the pain of losing near and dear ones is so acutely painful. It simply makes your mind so blank, lost. And one moment of such a pain is good enough to nullify all the past experiences of merriments, festivities, the ceremonies, and so forth. All the joys are so shallow in the eyes of one moment of such a tragedy of losing near and dear ones. And this is the fact of life. Yes, that's true. And when will this stop? Yes, I know that this pain is so acute, the feeling of the great, intense feeling of uncertainty because of the COVID outbreak in 2020. So much of fear, and there's no exception to anyone. The kings, queens, presidents, prime ministers, the richest person, the poorest person, everyone bows down to this COVID-19, and we felt so much uncertainty. Yes, this feeling is so painful. So when will a wise person will think of as to whether or not there's a possibility for this pain to stop altogether? Answer is yes, it'll stop. But it'll stop only if we put proper effort. Unlike 2021, which invariably came to stop on its own. Nobody could hold it. It's gone now forever. But there are things which never stop on their own unless until we put effort. In other words, impermanence is of three kinds. One, which stops on its own without any effort, like 2020, 2021, and your youth. Nobody can stop this. Nobody can hold it for you. They all stop invariably. You don't do anything. But there's another class of impermanent phenomena which never stops, like your mind, like the world meaning the universe. It keeps operating. Your mind keeps operating. There's third class of impermanent phenomena which stops only if you put effort. Otherwise, it perpetuates. It keeps perpetuating. What is that? Your miseries, your self-grasping ignorance, and your self-centered attitude. How to stop these miseries? What kind of effort is required? Knowing that these miseries are rooted to ignorance, self-grasping ignorance, we have to bring an end to the self-grasping ignorance. How to bring an end to self-grasping ignorance? By introducing counter-force. What's the counter-force? The wisdom to see the reality as it is. What's the reality? This is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Okay, let us quickly meditate on emptiness. Again, it's going to be guided meditation. And even if you are not exposed to any meditation emptiness, don't worry. Just follow the instruction and see if you can get somewhere. Okay, what are you doing? I'm meditating. And what is your mind doing? My mind is also meditating. Okay. And how does this self appear to you? Like a dream where your mind is projecting it, or like a movie being projected by the movie projector, or like so objectified, so solidly there from the object. Of course, it is so solidly there from the object. This is known as objectification of the object. This is known as self-grasping, grasping of the objectification of the object, self-grasping ignorance. And this is the ignorance which traps us from samsara. Okay. How do you know that this is ignorance? This is not a valid mind. How do you know that? If this self does exist the way it appears, as so objectified, so solidly there, remember what Nagarjuna said. If the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Likewise, if this self would exist objectively, why not I see this self as I go closer to this object? Okay, let us now go closer to this object. Our mind is of two kinds. A mind which looks at the object by going closer to the object, like the way in the manner in which you go closer to the mirage. Or a mind which looks at the mirage from distance. So both the minds, they look at the same object, but one sees as water, mirage water, and the other sees the mirage as empty or being water. Perception differs, but they are looking at the same object. So the mind which looks at things from distance is known as conventional analysis, and the mind which looks at things from close inspection is known as ultimate analysis. So now going closer to the self, you are subjecting the self to ultimate analysis. Subjecting the self to ultimate analysis, let's see where this person, ultimate analysis meaning to see if the self exists ultimately, to see if the self exists objectively. Going closer towards the object to see whether or not the self exists ultimately. First, we see a very thin layer of the skin. Of course, that is not me. Just ignore all those things which are not you. You only look for objective self, a self which exists objectively or ultimately. Behind this thin layer of the skin is the fatty tissues, and behind that, the muscles, cartilages. Behind that, the skeleton, whole skeleton. And alongside the blood vessels, the heart, the lungs, the spleen, pancreas, stomach, duodenum, the liver, gallbladder. None of these solid parts is me. These solid parts constitute element earth. Element earth is not me. Element fire, the body heat, is also not me. Element water, 4 liters of blood, which is being pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body. Of course, that is not me. Element of air, 4.6 liters of air that you breathe in and out through your lungs through different parts of the body. Of course, that is also not me. Element space. Space is vacuum in nature. I'm a solid person. Element space also not me. To the other side. What is left now? Only the consciousness or the mind is left. Even this mind is also not me. I'm a male, I'm a female, and the mind does not have a gender. Gender is positive on the basis of my body. And people can see me. People cannot see my mind. Even this mind is also not me. Okay. So now, thus far we've discovered that in the eyes of this ultimate analysis, you see the 6 elements, and none of the 6 elements is seen as is identified as the self, which means you are seeing the self as not to be identified as objectively one with its parts. Okay, if none of these elements are seen as identified as the self, in eyes to ultimate analysis, remove all these things which are not the self. You are looking for the self, intrinsic self or objective self. Remove all these things. What is left? Nothing is left there. Okay, this is what to my surprise, I'm discovering that the self does not exist as independent, as different from these 6 elements. If you're very sure of this, you are actually identifying that the self is not intrinsically different from its parts. Stay in this experience. Okay, with these 2 possibilities ruled out, where's the self from the object now? From the object, nothing is to be identified as self. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, stay in this experience of non-affirming negative. Okay, that's amazing experience. This is the meaning of everything is the nature, emptiness, selflessness. But what's the benefit of this? Yes, just as this self dissolves in the experience of this emptiness, all your miseries, sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, bewilderment, and the loss of the pain, the loss of near and dear ones, and so forth. If you subject them to the same ultimate analysis, we see that they will all dissolve into the vast expanse of the ultimate reality. In other words, they are not to be traceable on the ultimate level, on the objective level. That's amazing. This is the meaning of transcending sorrow. All your sorrow will be transcended in experience of the emptiness. This meaning of transcending sorrow is absolute peace. The moment you feel that all your sorrows dissolved in the eyes of the ultimate analysis, you feel your mind is instantly uplifted with acute ease. Very profound, vast ease. This is nirvana. And the ultimate state, ultimate nature of this nirvana is the Buddhahood. This is the meaning of the transcending source, absolute peace. Okay, that's amazing. So just build this feeling that may I experience this absolute peace in the eyes of the ultimate, in the eyes of the ultimate analysis, the meaning of which is transcending source, absolute peace. So this sediment, this spirit that you built, and may I experience this vast expanse of the ultimate reality where all my miseries dissolve. This aspiration is known as renunciation, the final version of the renunciation, most refined version of the renunciation. Stay in 6 minutes for a while. Okay, slowly come out of this, and we will move to the Bodhicitta practice. And as for the Bodhicitta practice, we will, because that this group practice, we'll do it with the 4 immeasurables. And today is the Vesak day or the Buddha Purnima. We'll do all the 4 immeasurables. Okay. And when you're doing your practice by yourself on your own, then the more than the 4 immeasurables, I would highly recommend you doing both, including both the the methods, the sevenfold course of method, and the method of utilizing and exchanges of others. Okay, with this in mind, we will do 4 immeasurables. Okay, ready? Again, it's going to be it's going to be guided meditation, and you have to follow the instruction. Just follow the instruction and see if you can invoke the respective experiences. This is so important. Are you ready? Immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear ascension beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness? May all my dear ascension beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I will take the responsibility that all my dear ascension beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing their Umage such a courageous commitment, they're so intensely happy and proud that the mother, after many years of raising her children, today, the eldest daughter, just age 12, and this eldest son, just age 11, both of them come to the mother and tell the mother, Mother, please take rest. You have done everything for us. We're all grown up now. We'll take care of all our siblings. The mother could not believe her eyes. She just runs into tears. This is exactly what happens to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. Yet we made such a courageous commitment to take the whole responsibility of all the Dhamma sentient beings. The Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're so proud of you. And this pride and happiness that they feel invoke their compassionate, omniscient minds to send forth nectar is very soothing light towards you and all Dhamma sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars with the bodies and beings of yours instills in all happiness and causes of happiness. Cause of happiness, primarily consisting of the wisdom of emptiness and the bodhicitta within the minds of all Dhamma sentient beings yourself. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening to all Dhamma sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sighing with relief. Next, immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. Cause of suffering primarily consists of self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. I will take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. And as you say that I'll take the responsibility, some of us may feel that it's so superficial. I don't really feel it. Don't worry. This is how this is mean of practice. Like practicing music. When you practice music, there's no music. It's just imitation of the pressing the keyboards, the keys of the keyboard, the way the manner in which your teacher does. Just mimicking it and no music coming out of this. Over time, the music comes out. That becomes your music. That becomes your experience. So this is how we do, and is the meaning of the practice. Okay. I will take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're so happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas experience invokes the compassionate omniscient minds of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas to send the nectars of very soothing light towards you and all the sentient beings. The mere touch of light and nectars with the bodies and beings of yours washes away all the miseries and the cause of miseries from the minds of demons sentient beings yourself. and you witnessing such a miracle is happening towards all the demon sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sighing with relief. Next, immeasurable joy. How good would it be that all my demon sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they're endowed with? May all my demon sentient beings never be separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they're endowed with. I'll take the responsibility that all my demon sentient beings are never separated from happiness and the causes of happiness that they're endowed with. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas witnessing the remake is such a courageous commitment. They are intensely happy and proud. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to accept for nectars of restricting lights to assume ultimate sentient beings. Their mere textualized nectars with the bodies of yours stabilizes the happiness and the causes happiness of being sent. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening towards all these demon sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Next, immeasurable equanimity. How good would it be that all my demon sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others, and instead abide in state of equanimity, embracing all other demon sentient beings, leaving them aside. May all my dear mother sentient beings be freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. I will take the responsibility that all my demon sentient beings are freed from the biased attitude of excessive attachment towards some and aversion towards others. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you make such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassionate omniscient minds to send the nectars of restoring lights towards you and all demon sentient beings. The mere touch of lights and nectars with the bodies of yours frees the beings from the biased attitude of excessive attachment to some and aversion towards others, and instead taking them to a state of total equanimity, embracing all other sentient beings with love and affection, leaving that aside. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening towards all the demon sentient beings. You're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Underscoring all the 4 immeasurables is the unconditional love towards all demon sentient beings. Just abide in the experience of the unconditional love. Imagining that you are just glancing at the eyes of each of the sentient beings, reassuring them, giving the reassurance that have no fear, I'm there to take care of you. And imagine each of the sentient beings, they feel so safe and secured. They, they feel so special in in the eyes of you. Okay, with this in mind, with folded hands, always say line of Bodhicitta, the courageous mind to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, and we'll all say this 3 times together after that. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Okay, abiding the experience of the most beautiful mind that can possibly exist in this universe, whole of the universe, the Bodhicitta. Feel the joy of this Bodhicitta and slowly transform this beautiful Bodhicitta into a spotless, clean moon disk, horizontally sitting on the heart. This is a conventional Bodhicitta. Wow, that's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha. But how do you know that you can become Buddha? Until you have a seed, no matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil will come out of that. Likewise, how do you know that the Buddhahood will come out? Yes, that's true. I'm not like a handful of sand, I'm like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which the Buddhahood will come out. I have the Buddha, seed of perfection within me, seed of Buddhahood within me, within all of my dear sentient beings. But how come that since time immemorial till now, that you did not manifest the Buddha nature, get, you got all these innumerable times, but it never manifested? Yes, it's all because that I'm under the deception of these two demons, self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude. Henceforth, these are the two things which obscure this Buddha nature from manifesting. I'm now disillusioned by the two. I will simply do everything to exterminate these two demons. How would you do that? Okay, so this ignorance is what blinds us from having the vision of the reality. And this wisdom is what cures this blindness. So what is this wisdom? Okay, let's quickly invoke bring this wisdom, wisdom of emptiness, which we meditated as the third seal of the four seals. Quickly, I retrieve that experience. What are you doing? I'm meditating. About how does the self appear to you? And so objectively, they're so real there. This is deception. This is self-grasping ignorance. Okay, how do you know that this self-grasping ignorance? Remember what Nagarjuna said. If the mirage would be water, or not those close by the mirage see water. Okay, likewise. If this self were exists objectively, why do not see the self as I go closer to the self? Going closer towards the self, the 5 points to given mind. One, the self. How does the self appear to you as so object real? Okay, now the 6 elements. You see that's subjecting the self to ultimate analysis. We see this just made of 6 elements. Just go through this, scan through 6 elements one by one. Element earth, all solid parts. Element water in the blood. Element fire, the body heat. Element air, the air that we breathe in and out from the lungs. Element space. And element consciousness. Where is the self? 2 questions. What are you seeing now? Are the 6 elements? Second question. Where is the self? Nowhere to be seen. No way this self is to be seen as intrinsically one with the parts, one with the 6 elements, or different from 6 elements. Nobody to be seen there in the eyes of the ultimate analysis. Stay in this experience. Okay, this is the space like emptiness in a meditative state. Imagine that you come out of this meditation. Again, the self comes back. It's just perception is coming back. From the object, there's nothing there. From the subject, perception taking place. It's just the perception. It's just the illusion like this is known as illusional emptiness in the post-meditative state. Again, go back to this ultimate analysis to see where the self is. Self is just empty from the object. Stay in this experience. Okay, so this mind, which sees that self objectively is not at all there. This is the discovery that you made, and this is known as the most fearless mind in this universe, the wisdom of emptiness. Slowly transform this, the wisdom of emptiness, into a spotless, clean, white Vajra, vertically sitting on the moon disk at your heart. Okay, as amazing, you have the moon, which is symbolic of the conventional bodhicitta to to eradicate the self-centered attitude. And if the Vajra symbolizes the ultimate Bodhicitta, to eradicate this self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered attitude, both, is amazing that it's guaranteed that your mental developments are removed by these two at the set of the Vajra moon. But what about your two parents? What about your children? What about all the dear sentient beings who you love so much, for whom you have generated bodhicitta? That's very true. Out of great compassion, incredible compassion, there's the set of Vajra moon in your heart multiplies infinite number of times. In barrage like rain shower, you distribute this to all the dear mother sentient beings, sharing one set of the Vajra moon at the heart of your mother, one set of the Vajra moon at the heart of your dad, at the heart of each one of your children, each one of your family members, each of the sentient beings in your country, in the whole world, and everyone in this Milky Way galaxy, in the entire universe. Everyone has a share of the Vajra moon. That's amazing. We are so happy. Yes. Let's not forget that all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, they're watching us. Why not we invite all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to be the witness to our undertaking the ceremony of taking Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, and that as a gesture of requesting them to be the witness and the guests to this ceremony, let us stand up along with all the sentient beings to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Okay, let us now sit on our right knees to take the actual ceremony. I'm on the page because the page 55, 52. Okay, we're going to. So this is the actual ceremony, the undertaking the ceremony of Glicious, yeah. Okay. Undertaking the ceremony of the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow, and this is the essence of all what we are doing now. So with this in mind, again reinforce the visualization of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us, so loving, caring, embracing. Just imagine that you are such a tender young child, age 4, age 5, for the first time in your life. You are representing your school to make a public performance, and then your parents, they left behind all their works. They come to the stadium as you are as the observer in the public, waving their hands to you, saying that yes, we are very confident in your performance. And this is exactly what all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas they're feeling today. And all these innumerable lifetimes, we only brought sadness in the minds of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas by doing everything the unwholesome. And today you are doing something so meaningful. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, like the parents, they are feeling so proud of you, so there. And also that you, as the eldest of the child, just age 12, young girl, or age 11, young boy, imagine all your siblings, you are taking along with you all the siblings to do the same good thing. And your mother will be so proud of you. Your father will be so proud of you. That's exactly what is happening. And imagine all the beings like your siblings, young little siblings, they're all with you to undertake this Aspirational Bodhisattva vow with you. your two parents, all the family members, your children, and all the mother sentient beings with you. Okay, with this in mind, let's recite the first verse. First verse is indicating the journey, a journey of identifying your true nature, the state of perfection, the Buddhahood within you. And this journey involves the journey of cleansing the mental defilements, then reinforcing the virtues to make enriching your mind with the virtues. The first line, I go for refuge to the Triple Gem, it means that I take the support of all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, the Triple Gem, in the journey of this cleansing the mind. And second line says that I'll cleanse the road on the road of this journey so that journey will be smooth. And third line says that I will put the fuel, the gas in the car so that I can undertake this journey very forcefully. And then once the road is clear and your car has full of the gas there with the merits, virtues, what kind of journey, what kind of journey you're going to undertake? The journey of enlightenment, Buddhahood for the benefit of ultimate sentient beings. With this in mind, let's say this 3 times together. And imagine that all beings are saying this together with you. And all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they're watching with so much of pride and happiness. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. The next 2 verses is the actual the ceremony, the invoking all your gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas to pay heed to you. And the first line is pertaining to what the Buddhas did in the past, how they become Buddha to benefit all the beings. Historically speaking, with the Buddha Shakyamuni, just one person, one young prince who is able to leave such an impact in the world, impact of the universal compassion, universal wisdom. And even now, it is so well reverberates so well to bring about the hope and peace in the world. So, how come that he's able to do that? For 2 factors. First, the motivation of the Bodhicitta. He generated a very strong motivation of Bodhicitta to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And then the second, to materialize this aspiration, he actually engaged in the Bodhisattva practices such as 6 perfections and the 10 perfections. The second verse is pertaining to yourself. If this is how this Prince Siddhartha succeeded in the becoming Buddha to benefit all sentient beings, then I will follow his footsteps. I will also generate the Bodhicitta. I will also, to materialize this aspiration, I'll also engage in the practice of the Bodhisattvas. Okay, let's say this 3 times together. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as the previous Buddhas have generated the mind of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will generate the mind of bodhicitta, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Okay, just feel the joy of having received the aspirational Bodhisattva vow. Just feel that. Let us take a few seconds to feel that you have received the aspirational Bodhisattva vow on the occasion of the Buddha Purnima, on the occasion of the Vesak Day, on the occasion that the Buddha assumed 3 important events of the enlightened beings, the life. Just feel this joy of having received the aspirational Bodhisattva vow. And just imagine that your mother, after all the many years of you having brought embarrassment to the mother, always complains from the school principal. Today the school principal comes escorted by the other teachers. Again, the mother is petrified. Again, what my daughter might have done, something wrong. And the school principal, just so with a great courtesy, she greets the mother with so much respect. It's very different today. And the mother said, "What kind of complaints today?" The principal just said, "No complaint. It is just to congratulate you." For what? Congratulate you that your daughter and your son, two of them, are appointed at the best of the students of this school for this year. The mother couldn't believe her eyes with the tears out of joy. This is exactly what happens today. That after all these many lifetimes of her doing only unwholesome things, which makes the Buddhist Bodhisattvas so sad, and today the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, like parents, they feel so proud of you over having taken the Aspirational Bodhisattva vow. And this happiness and the pride all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel invoke the Vajra moon at their hearts in the full-fledged form to multiply infinite number of times. In mirage like rain shower, they descend to merge with the one that you visualize in your heart, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, in mirage like rain shower, all the replicas, infinite number of replicas of the Vajra moon, they descend to merge with the one that you visualize at the heart of your mom, at the heart of the mom, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized, and blessed of the Vajra moon, which you have shared with your mom. Likewise, with your dad, with your children, with all the dear Mother Sentient beings, thereby blessing everyone with the Vajra moon, with the conventional Bodhicitta, and the ultimate Bodhicitta, wisdom and emptiness. Oh, that's amazing. What a better moment can you imagine this? Okay, in the process, if you feel painful, just sit down. Whichever position more comfortable, just sit down. Okay. So what better moment can you think of this in this whole universe? In your life, this is such a beautiful moment, and this is the greatest meaning out of life. And today you have extracted this. And for all your dear Mother Sentient beings, including parents and children, this is the greatest gift. And today you have gifted them with this most precious gift. And there's you can't imagine any better offerings to be made to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. And today you made this offering, the best of the offerings in the universe. Just feel this joy of having done this. Okay. With this in mind, and this is all happening because of the kindness of all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking them, let us slowly stand up to make prostrations along with all dear Mother Sentient beings to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. Okay, so yes, indeed, we are very fortunate today on the occasion of the festival. Of course, there are two calendars. The calendar followed according to the Theravada tradition, and the calendar followed by the Tibetans. There are two different calendars, and there's a gap of 1 month. It doesn't matter. The point is that is about, say, the enlightened beings from all the traditions. They observe, some of them observe today, some of them observe the 1 month later. There's a gap of 1 month. And then now the world is a digital world where we can reap the benefit of both, to observe both the days. Thereby we can have the maximum accumulation merit, the twice in a year. Okay, with this in mind, we are very fortunate. But what about next lives? Not sure. So to make sure that in next lives also we get opportunity to generate the bodhicitta, the two bodhicittas, and follow the path gade para samadhi bodhisattva. We include that in form of a powerful prayer. So this is a prayer which we're going to say 3 times together, along with all Dhamma sentient beings, in front with the Buddhist Bodhisattvas as the witness and guest. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Now, I say, for us, we need to keep in mind 2 things. For example, in this life, perhaps you have people who are born as Buddhists, who are born in a Buddhist family, but that they are not too serious with the Buddhist practice, teachings of Buddha. So some people meet, but they are not rigorously into practice. Some people, they have the great capacity for rigorous engagement, but they don't meet with the Dharma. So we have to make sure that both things happen. The first one is meet. Meeting is done through a very powerful the prayers and your practice, of course. That is indicated by the first verse. And then once you meet, then rigorously engage in it is done by finding joy in what you've done. So the remaining verses are extracted from Bodhisattva Shantidevas Guided Bodhisattva's Way of Life. It's about okay. The remaining verses, they are to feel joy. So in the next life, you hear about bodhicitta, instantly there's joy is triggered. When you find the joy, this will make your mind move towards that, and then you will rigorously engage in this. The more the rigor you engage in the practice, the faster your path towards enlightenment. So with this mind, let's recite the following verses. We're just trying to invoke the joy within us. In order to further increase this bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have lucidly seized and awakened the mind of bodhicitta in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddha. And now I'm one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind person discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence, an awakening mind has been born within me. It is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is the tree that shelters all beings wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is a quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in a supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May gods, demigods, and all be joyful. Okay, we'll recite the Buddha mantra, Bodhisattva Muni mantra 21 times together. Meanwhile, invoking Buddha Shakyamuni's blessings from his crown, forehead, and throat towards you and all the dear sentient beings, the nectars in the form of wisdom of emptiness and the compassion, the wisdom, the compassion bodhicitta, thereby cleansing the illnesses, thereby cleansing the misconceptions, thereby becoming a happier, more sensible person, and all those who are suffering in Ukraine, Russia, and everywhere, their suffering simply dissolves and washed away. Okay. Om Mani Mani Mahamani Swaha. 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 Yeah, dedication. Okay, we will do the long dedication. Longer dedication now. Okay. So let us dedicate the merits that's gathered on gathered on this day, the Vesak day, the Buddha's birth, enlightenment. Let us pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long, and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And also let us dedicate that all these the wars stop altogether, and that the people are healed, and the COVID-19 stops, and that people are healed, and everywhere the sanity, compassion, and the wisdom of interdependency starts to proliferate everywhere, and people, they come to in harmony, bringing about peace, dialogue, and happiness in the world. And may the teaching on the wisdom of emptiness and the teaching on Bodhicitta thrive in the minds of all human sentient beings. Where these teachings are happening, the centers, learning centers, they thrive in the activities of study, reflection, meditation. With this mind, let us recite this verse together. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All-powerful Chenrezig Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as the brave Manchuria and Samadhi too realize things they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow their perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appeared in the three times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I fully attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of three times, and to the upholding of Dharma of teaching and realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfectly in the two stages. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and auspiciousness proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path to union of emptiness and compassion is loosely explained by the Pratadu Buddha Dhamma and the beings of the land of snows. You are the lotus holder Tenzin Gyatso. We supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations, the evil thoughts and deeds of the negative forces, humans or non-humans, who harbor malice through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be totally vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. In all my lives, never separate from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, my quality state attains to Vajratara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by Manjushri and be able to uphold the Dharma in general and the teachings of dependent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. Teata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay, thank you, all of you.
So with this, we have come to the end of today's program. And I would like to thank Geshe for a very effective and overwhelming teaching today on this auspicious day, Buddha Purnima. And on behalf of Tibet House, I would like to thank each one of you for participating in today's event. Thank you once again. Good night.
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you,
Thank you, Geshe-la.
Thank you, everyone.
everyone.
나
Thank you.
주제체
Chenang Gishta,
되고
Pinche.
지체낭,
네.
러시아낭고.